Welcome to Flip Lesson 69 for the 5th grade. We're continuing our look at decimals, and today as we look at decimals, we want to start to compare them, really looking at the place values that are presented by the decimals so that as we make comparisons, it becomes something that is not confusing even if the numbers look very similar. So we start with our first example. We see two numbers up there. As you look at the digits, we see, okay, I see a 1, a 3, and an I on both of the numbers. However, to really start the comparison, the first thing we need to do is we need to identify that decimal. So we see that decimal right here, and we see that decimal right here. And from there, we can start looking at place values. As you look at place values, we see there are two place values to the left of the decimal, right? So those would be whole numbers, and one to the right, which are just decimal numbers, compared to the one over here where there's one place value to the left compared to two place values to the right. So in the end, as you look at this picture, you see that even though they have the same digits, the decimal place really signifies the values here. And in this case, we'd see, well, we have two place values here for the number 13 compared to the number 1. 13 is definitely bigger than the number 1. And just by doing that, we can see, all right, that number is bigger. If you look at the next one, once again, the digits are the same. I see a 1, a 3, a 0, a 9, and 1, all in that order. So as we start to make the comparison, first thing we need to do, once again, is find the decimal. Here it is. And now we look. First we look to the left, because to the left of the decimal are the bigger numbers. The bigger numbers. And so we have a 1 on this side and 130 on this side. And once again, we can easily say 130. We don't even have to look at the right side of the decimal because the left side of the decimal solves all our problems. So we have that comparison. When it comes to comparing decimal numbers, you got to find the decimal first and then compare to the left, and then you can compare to the right. We can use this technique in helping us to arrange numbers from least to greatest. All right. So we start by identifying the decimal. Okay, we found the decimal. We have a 32 to the left. Decimal, a 0. Okay, so 32 is definitely bigger than this number. Right. So now we have the decimal here. All right, that's a 2. Well, 2 is bigger than 0, but it's not as big as 32. All right, find the decimal. Okay, looking to the left to start. Well, that's smaller than 32, but bigger than that. All right, next one. Got my 0. Okay, we have a 0, so it's definitely smaller, but now let's compare our two zeros, right? So here we can start to make our comparison looking at the right. We find the decimal in each of them. We have zeros on both sides, so that's the same. So now we're not going to say look at the whole number like this, but instead we're going to look at the first digit, which of course in this case is the tens digit. So we're going to compare the 3 to the 2. Which one is larger? Well, the 3 is. Okay. So in the end, this becomes a smaller number. This goes here, and now we have this order so far. And now we can come and get our last number. We see the decimal place there. All right, 23. All right, where's that going to fit in this order? Well, it's smaller than 32, but it's bigger than 3. And so in the end, you've put all these numbers in order from least to greatest. And it all comes through looking at the decimals and then making comparisons first to the left, because that's where the whole numbers are, and then looking at the right, starting at the largest place value, right, which is what we did here and here. We look at the largest place value, which is the tens. Tens is bigger than hundreds, right? Would you rather have 1 dime or 1 penny? Dime is bigger. It's a tenth, right? All right, here's some sample problems to get you on your way as you start comparing decimals. That is lesson 69.